from a party at Eric Adams' house. It's ImmaLetYouFinish with Court and Amy. Are we under arrest?
You know what? Every time you do one of those things, it's like that Saturday Night Live skit Stefan, where John Mulaney would insert new jokes into the teleprompter. You know how you always joke around like Amy should run for mayor? I may be overqualified at this point.
We could all run for all of these positions because they're all available.
They're all available.
Wait a minute. So I was talking to Fred today. Hey, Fred.
Hey, Fred.
And a friend of ours, we're on this group thread, and he's in Georgia, and he sent us his sticker. He voted early. And I was like, I cannot wait to vote early so I can... I've already been trying to tune out all the noise so I can really just...
I'm going to vote early, too.
Everything out. And Fred was like, yeah, we have like 6 proposals on the ballot. I was like,
oh yeah. No, I posted about that. I posted that.
Let me go see these proposals.
No, I posted that.
There's like one that I'm going to say yes. And then these like 5 from Eric Adams with all of this
No.
bullshit.
You got to vote no on all that stuff.
I was like, oh.
Yeah,
he's really piece of fucking work.
No, he's pulling dictator thing. I posted a video from Chio Say, who's a city councilman from Bedside who's fabulous. No, I
like him.
That.
Yeah, the young guy. Yeah, I like him.
No, you got to vote yes on number 1 because that'll codify Roe v. Wade.
It's yes on number 1
and no on the rest of them.
I don't tell anybody who to vote for and whatever. But if you live in New York,
I'll tell you about you got to vote again.
Really, they're
really
If he tried it, was a person.
Yeah,
like for real. It's like, sir.
So I was at Sahadi's the other day because I get my little lunch. Sahadi's, for those of you who don't live in New York, is a wonderful Lebanese. It's sort of, they have all sorts of food, but they have deli counter. It's just fantastic. And I saw this man and I'm looking at him. He looks very nice. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Herman Daugherty, who's a very well-known minister in this town, been around for a million years. And I'm looking at him, and I was this close to walking over to him and saying something. And then I went, you know what? Let the old man enjoy his hummus, and I will leave him. I don't need to get into it with Reverend Daugherty in front of the hummus, okay? Let's all have some baba ganoush and keep it moving. Anyway, yay, sports. Lots of sports. Lots of sports,
including breaking news right as we're going on the air.
Oh, what? What happened? What?
With the Jets trading a 3rd round conditional pick, which can actually move up to 2nd round for Devontae Adams, who's great. The Jets need all the help they can get because they lost again last night. I mean, they lost for all of the penalties, getting a touchdown, pulled back. Just the errors that happened last night are so infuriating. The Jets and the Giants have just been infuriating this season.
One of the guys who works at one of my schools said, why do they even put those games on TV?
It kind of feels that way right now.
Like, why are you doing that?
It's it really feels horrible.
Just get rid of Aaron Rodgers. He's a complete jerk. He got that coach fired. I don't pay attention to the Jets. Really. I'm not a football person. But there is all this conversation, and we can move on.
He's a coach. He's been known as a little bit of a coach killer. He tries to act like, it's not me. It's like, sir.
But they've also said that one of the reasons that Robert Saleh, who is Lebanese descent, may have been canned is because he was spotted in Europe with a Lebanese flag on his backpack or something. And
no, it was at the last Jets game. He had a patch on his.
Oh, it was here. It wasn't in Europe. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a jerk, and we need to. But like I said, I don't care about football, but he is kind of like the Kyrie Irving of football. Except that Kyrie Irving doesn't have the excuse of having CTE.
Actually, Kyrie is kind of great, and he's been great in Texas. And I'm actually a huge Kyrie Irving fan. I actually like him a lot.
No, but you always have said he's a coach killer.
Well, no, I just think that he's misunderstood.
Misunderstood. All right. Oh. Yes. All
I'm
right.
a huge Kyrie fan. I am. I've always been a Kyrie fan.
What, does he look good with his shirt off? No, he's not misunderstood. He's very understood.
How dare you think that I would like somebody because I think they're hot? And I do think he's hot. But that's a whole other story. He is a good look. He's a good looking guy. But no, I'm a Kyrie fan. I think he's a great basketball player.
He is a great basketball player.
And he's not had any of those issues in the Mavericks. They love him down there, and he's great. Well, listen. Yeah. I just think he was in some bad situations in New York. Now, did he not show up for work and then go to throw his sister a birthday party? Yeah. Was that a little messy? Yeah.
Maybe he has seen a globe in Texas and he can tell that the world is round.
Anyway. But our Liberty have won game 2, which is great because they really should have won game 1 of the playoffs, but unfortunately they kind of took their foot off the gas, and the Lynx came from 18 points behind and beat them, which was crazy. But they absolutely fought and won game 2. But this is going to be a hard-fought series because, listen, the Lynx are really good too. But our Liberty won. The Yankees won last night, the first game of their series. And the Mets won last night as well. So now their series is even 1-1.
Let me tell you something. This entire city will go up in flames if there's a Subway series.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
It will be it will be mental. It will be absolutely mental.
And I can see the lights from Yankee Stadium from here because it's directly across. And so when it is on, it's great for the city when we have teams.
It's always good. We need to, and then there's the return of my favorite Thug White. I enjoy a white. I enjoy
your quality white.
White, and if they're thugged out, I enjoy them even more.
Are you talking about Dante and his?
Yes.
Honey. I knew you enjoyed him versus Rick Brunson. I knew that you liked it.
Well, no. Now they're saying he was against. There's more rumor. All right. So basically, the Timberwolves came back, preseason game, and New York fans. Nobody wanted this trade, so New York fans were like, "We love you, Dante. Love you, Dante." There have been all these stories about Dante wanted to be traded because he knew he wasn't going to be, the sixth man anymore. And then Dante didn't want to be traded. And then, the trade never would have gone through without Dante because he was like, let's face it, no disrespect to Mitchell Robinson, but nobody wants Mitchell Robinson who's falling apart and Julius Randle who has a history of falling apart. They wanted Dante because he was like the hero. I think him and Josh Hart in a lot of ways were the heroes of the series. All right. But so there's all this stuff. So, and what I do love about Dante is he knows he don't give a fuck if the mic is picking up what he's saying. He did that in the playoffs. Remember when he was like, fuck it, he don't give a fuck if I love it. So anyway, he was heard yelling, and everybody thought he was yelling at Rick Brunson, who was Jalen Brunson's dad and an assistant coach. But it turned, and he was saying this is what happens when you get to make the decisions. This is what happens. And then he was actually yelling at Tibbs because
he said he was not, because in the interview he said I was not. He said I was talking. He was like, I'm just competitive. I was saying it. I wasn't yelling at Tibbs. And evidently the issue now is something with him and Rick Brunson. And what he said was, Jalen is my best friend. That's my brother. That'll never change. Rick and I will speak privately to deal with what we have to deal with.
It's got to be hard to be on a team where the dad is the coach. I mean, it's got to be. But it was just Dante does not.
So good stuff. Listen, I love messy shit.
So good.
Yell,
and
curse,
also it is so. Somebody said online, this is the reason why he's a Knick. Because he was just like, fuck you, and then fuck you again. I loved it. I loved it. And I also loved that we won. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what's with Minnesota? They have to have wild animals for all their teams, wolves, lynx.
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying. It should be the Minnesota Lynx.
And tonight we have, it's the Charlotte Hornets.
That's the stupidest name ever for a team. No, really, think about it. Why would you want to be named after a bug that stings people and can kill you? I'm being serious. The Knicks are the only name that really is good. I mean, the Celtics make sense because of all those Irish people. The Knicks is a great name because it's the Knicks. The rest of these names are just Warriors. I don't know, whatever. That's fine. Hornets. Pelicans. There are no Pelicans in New Orleans.
I know that's such a like in Louisiana.
There are no There is no Jazz in Utah. There are no lakes in LA. I know that's because they traded the team, but anyway, yay, all our best. But yeah,
I've been enjoying the preseason Knicks basketball, and I've been enjoying seeing the
where is it on? Is it on MSG? Oh, it is on ESPN.
Which I'm sure is probably also on MSG. But it's been interesting to see the guys playing together, at least, the first couple of quarters, to see what we're going to get. And I think it's going to be exciting. The Garden's going to be absolutely rocking this year.
Mental. I just enjoy me a thugged out Dante. Everything about him. I would like to get his DNA checked because I'm thinking he might also be a black man, too. I don't know. It's because the swagger is unbelievable. I mean, it really is. I mean, Hartenstein was a cool guy, but this guy is like a cross between Bill Laimbeer and Chris Mullin in the attitude department, except that Bill Laimbeer was an asshole. Sorry. Great player, right?
But that's what jerk. People. But
I know. But Dante's not an asshole. I'm sorry. I'm not saying this to be racist or anything, but you have to understand. Every once in a while, you're like, oh, yay. It's like the Jamaican bobsled team, right? It's like, look, there's a white guy in professional basketball.
We all rooted for the Jamaican bobsled team.
We all rooted for the Jamaican bobsled team.
I was here for the Jamaican bobsled team. We were all here
for the bobsled team. Anyway, okay. I am fighting the worst allergies. I'm assuming it's allergies, even that I have a week to live. All right, so in my humble opinion, and obviously everybody else's, the biggest reunion probably in decades of a band is Oasis getting back together. I mean, nobody cared about Jane's Addiction, really. I mean, when you think about it,
they were always niche.
Yeah. I mean, they had a fan base, but they didn't change the world. So everybody is Oasis, and especially because the backstory is like everybody knows the backstory. The brothers, I hate you, puppets, Punch and Judy. All right, so they are starting their tour, which we said sold out in 5 seconds. And they are saying they're not going to do press. And you know what? Because they're saying, I'm not going to be in a situation, because let's face it, as someone who was a writer, this is all people, Spoonie, what, Spoonie?
And you know what's really funny? I was sitting here and I was like,
what's happening?
Is that a whisker? First, I thought I don't have my glasses on, but it's like, is that a whisker coming across the screen? Then
another one. I was like, is that ass? Right. No, it's a whole cat ass in there. I mean, the thing you want to talk to Oasis about is why did you get back together? Why? So it's first off going to be answering the same question over and over. So from their standpoint, I can understand it. From a publicist standpoint, there's no other question, at least until the tour. It's just going to be the same stupid question. There's nothing that people need to know about this tour that isn't already apparent. And I see no problem with them just saying, we're going to play, judge for yourself what you think. And it's also setting up this this fight thing, because you're going to have somebody who's want to instigate. Why do it? We know they didn't get along for years. We know they've made some sort of amends or agreement. Just leave it be. Let them play.
If you have a contentious relationship with somebody and it's been fragile for a very long time, the last thing you need, I think, is to sit in front of people whose job it is really to get the scoop, right? You need headlines, and now we're in a clickbait time. To start to bring up a fight and bring all of that stuff back up to the surface,
right? I
don't think serves a purpose for anyone involved.
For anyone. No, and also it's going to be the same because the first person who interviews them is then that interview will be read and then somebody else will pick. And this is not against journalists. I mean, they're doing their job. But it's also like we know why they didn't get along. These guys have not been mute for the last 15 years. They do. the two of them, they are fantastic interviews in terms of they give you quote after quote after quote. There is no secret as to why they didn't get along.
The flip
it's like,
side is, why would you put that back in your faces when you're like, let's do this?
No, it's not worth it.
It is not worth it. Yeah, it's kind of like...
And I think I don't think it foretells, I'm sorry, I don't think it is a sign that the tour is in trouble. I think that means they're completely in control of the narrative.
And I think that they're smart to realize what we don't need is to start talking about all of this again, because you know what? You can get angry again when you start, people start bringing shit up, and then you start disagreeing about, hold on, and it can just start a whole bunch of bullshit.
Especially the British press.
Baby. And even the Americans, because here...
Yeah.
You know what I find interesting about the press? And this is not an attack on the press, because I'm very confused about certain things, right? We read these stories like Pitchfork is going away, they fired the whole staff, but Pitchfork is still here. Who's writing these stories? GQ fires the whole staff, but it's still here. Who's writing these stories? Remember we went through the whole thing, Paper Magazine.
Yeah.
You see, Paper Magazine is going away and all the staff is gone, but it's still here. Like, who's writing these stories?
Well, you can see the writers on Pitchfork, they have bylines. They all have bylines. It's been the same kind of key writers, and a lot of the Pitchfork writers are also, because it's Condé Nast, or also in the New Yorker. So there are a few writers that you see over and over. I'm sure so that is, but they are cutting stuff. But yeah, so let Oasis do Oasis. I think that everybody doom scrolling with them is ridiculous. These guys are smart. They don't need the money. They're doing this for a reason. Let them do it. Let them do it. And I think, like I said, if somebody hands me
and the money is clearly going to be cute, because every date sold out in like 2.
Oh, the money's going to be super cute. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't do it unless. Why would people in their 50s with families want to just do this to themselves? Like, why? You know what I mean? They don't need to do it. They ended on a high. They didn't end at the low point of their career. They ended while he broke up the band, Noel, mid-tour, if I remember. He was just like, I'm done, Okay, so I have a confession. I am freakishly drawn to these Jaguar Wright exposés.
Oh, God.
And
I can't with you and her.
I don't know why. Well, the problem is you watch one, it's like that stupid AMSR trad wife Mormon I have a million children lady who's baking in designer clothes, and
I cannot stand her.
No, she's annoying.
I hate that whisper voice that she does.
No, but then because you can hear her talking. I'd also like to know how a woman, and then we'll get back to Piers Morgan, how a woman who grew up in Germany and only spoke and comes to the United States when she's 17 has no accent. None. We know people who've been in this country for 40 years from other countries who still have an accent.
It feels feels very that Baldwin wife.
No. She's definitely German. I mean, she's definitely, but the Mormon propaganda I could do without. And the husband's not that cute. And how come he's a Mormon, but it's okay that he had a child out of wedlock before her? Huh? Riddle me that. Anyway, so Jaguar Wright is a singer, was a singer. She was actually, her first solo record was pretty good, and she's the woman in the Jay-Z MTV Unplugged who was singing all the hooks, and she's a really good singer, and she was all
and
down.
A songwriter. She's known for being a
the
songwriter.
Black Lily Collective out of Philly.
She worked with the Roots, yeah.
Yeah. She's she is that girl. I think I interviewed her a million years ago. Well, anyway, she has become, I don't know. Can I say she's batshit crazy?
Yes.
Okay, she's batshit crazy. But her batshit crazy lane is okay. For a woman who hasn't had an active recording career in 30 years?
Feels like it.
How does she know all this stuff? Supposedly, she knows everything, and she's really good though. She's super dramatic, and she's like the lady who corners you at the bar and is telling you stuff, and you're like la 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 la, and then the people her interview are talking as though they're talking to someone. Like they're talking to Einstein. They never quite. Anyway, so she's been on this puffy
for
Illuminati.
Years, she's been on the
for year. Yeah, but now she's hit her peak because a lot of the stuff that she talked about has come to fruition in terms of puppy. Anyway, so she's on this, Jay-Z's going down next, Jay-Z and Beyonce, the Illuminati. So Piers Morgan, who we all know is the worst journalist in the history. I don't even want to call him a journalist. It's not even fair to call him a journalist. I don't know what he is. He's horrible.
He's a tabloid. He was the editor of one of the biggest tabloids in
Daily Mail, right? Wasn't it the Daily Mail? I mean, he's just horrible. He had a show in CNN. He's a pompous ass. He's a misogynist. He's a race. He's just horrible. Anyway, of course, he decides to bring this, bless her heart, batshit crazy woman. I mean, she's about 4 steps away from the lady screaming on the corner, right? Okay. So he decides to bring her on the show and gives her free reign to say all this. You know how you're always on my ass about allegedly? That went out the window. She was just like, and then. So Beyonce and Jay-Z, not surprised, and no pushback from him either. No pushback. Because he also has a problem with black women, too. He's gotten into it with Piers Morgan. He's the one who went after Meghan Markle.
It's just like she's the thorn in his side.
I know. She probably didn't well, it all stems down to the fact that he tried to pick a date or
it stems from she was nice to him when she first got there. And when she started dating Harry, Harry was like, Harry knowing who he really is was like, you can't be friends with him.
Right.
So she stopped talking to him. And then from that moment on, it's been on and popping.
White fragility. Anyway, so Jaguar's on.
And she's just going on a full tangent saying all kinds of things.
Yeah, the spaceships and secret chemicals that are pumped into your body, and the Illuminati, of course, and sex trafficking, QAnon. She's a Trump supporter, I believe, too. I don't know what the hell is it. Anyway, shocker, Jay-Z and Beyonce did a cease and desist to Piers Morgan and went, shut. You can't have her do this.
Oh, no. Their lawyer came out and said, no, it wasn't a cease and desist that I said.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It was an ultimatum.
Oh, okay, sorry.
He was like, you take this out.
Right.
Or we're coming for you. Now, and everybody's like, well, why didn't they do it here? I was like, because we have no real laws here to protect. You can say whatever you want here. But Piers Morgan's show is based in the UK, where there are different laws about the kind of things you can say.
Well, the libel laws there are serious.
It's like being in France. They're different laws. Here, which is why everybody can just say what they want, act like it's fact, and they're like freedom of the press, and which... Okay, but it's like, should you be able to just blatantly lie or say whatever you want? That is why he comes on.
Unless you're Donald Trump, no.
Then he comes on the next day or a couple of days later, something you never see him do, kind of like apologizing and being like, we've edited that out, we would never, but, we got a letter, da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, it must have been, however that was worded, for this guy who doesn't apologize for shit and won't edit out anything, clearly they came ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and also two people who have the money to drag this out in court for the rest of their natural lives if they want. Yeah, no, that must have been the greatest letter in legal history, because he never apologizes. He's insulted people on air and just kept it moving. So and
the interesting thing about him is he's one of the few people that's actually gotten a later years interview with Beyonce, because remember when he had that show on CNN that was short-lived.
Oh, right.
He went on that show and did like a 45-minute interview with him.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't want to, I mean, he would so that was hilarious because, it was like less than 24 hours. It was like, boom, taking it down. Never happened. Nothing to see here. It was.
You want to know why? Because it is one thing for her to be on the internet, I'm sure spewing that, going on DJ Vlad, which I still don't understand why people give him a voice. And
she's not even. It's beyond DJ. She's literally like
in these little interview shows. But when you decide to go to someone like him, who's considered more like into the mainstream media, I think that jumped the shark is when they were like, "You're doing too much. Now you're giving her a platform for these unsubstantiated claims." You know?
Yeah, and it was also just
why do people want him to go down? People seem to be really.
He's nasty. He's nasty. He's a nasty. He's a mean-spirited, nasty person. He's been caught in all sorts of like dirty. You know, he's sort of like Boris Johnson kind of guy. Yeah. I mean, he's anti-gun. I'll give him that. But he's just a nasty, nasty guy, and he's arrogant too, with nothing to back it up. What is it about
Jay that everybody right now is? Because I keep seeing this swell online of people like he's next, like they want.
Oh, because this is online. Because this is online. Because everybody's an expert, and everybody. Because he's.
I know so many criminologists.
Amazing.
I'm like, wow.
Psychiatrists, really. I mean, so it's astounding. People who can read minds. Yeah, every little thing. Well, this is the internet. You can take a clip of him like winking and they'll go, you see what that wink means? That wink, that's a wink to the devil. And if you wink 3 times, I always used to laugh when my students talk about the Illuminati. I said, do you really think that there's an organization that America would allow an organization run by black men to control the country? Get a grip. Come on. The Illuminati. Yeah. So he's this and he's the next, because he's the last one standing.
And
right?
You and I have talked about this all the time. People who are ultra successful, who are on their way to billionaire status or billionaires, there's always bodies in the road in business. When you're that successful, you are single-minded and you're moving ahead, and not everybody can come along with you. It's like Dame Dash, right? Like I know let's segue into Dame Dash, and him being like, something about Jay-Z and morals. I was like, first of all, coming from you, that's really rich. But it's like there's no morals in any business. It's not the music industry is really horrible because it is a place where people actively sign people to really bad deals. Yeah. Lock them in and steal their publishing. Will have writers writing songs and be the last one to be paid, hit songs, and you have no money. It is look
the other way when there's bad behavior.
It is the one place where it's like bad contracts and the people who make the art are treated like shit. It's absolutely horrible. We all know this. But to have Dame Dash talking about anything moralistic, it's like...
I know, it's hilarious.
He's
just angry, and he's like...
I feel so bad for him because it's like, you had it all, you know? And just seeing how you are now, it makes sense to me that you couldn't go all the way with someone because it seems like you are stuck in a certain place, still trying to be a certain way. And it's like, and if your experiences, the more success you have, don't make you shed certain things and grow, then you're not going to be able to go everywhere with people. Like the fact that he really was starting to be successful as a producer of film, and even that crashes. It's just like watching someone who had it all just kind of crash and burn.
Well, and you can't keep saying his latest. I mean, he and Jay's situation. He had an ear too because he's the one who signed not Cannabis, Cameron. He's the one who brought in Kanye. I mean, those signings were him and and Jay Brown and Ty and stuff, but. So this has been an ongoing thing. Dame Dash is in a lot of financial trouble, but his new missive is that the best of both worlds, which I gotta say at the time was a kind of like strange idea. Yeah. But the best of both worlds record with R. Kelly and Jay-Z. I have the quote here. Where is it? It was, how could Jay do a record with someone who raped his girl? Meaning at the time of the record being recorded, Dame Dash was dating and allegedly affianced, engaged to Aaliyah, and Aaliyah, of course, was married, putting in big quotes, to R. Kelly when she was underage, which, yes, technically is rape. I mean, so, and after that record came out in the tour, I have seen interviews where Jay was like, oh man, what was I thinking? But this is one of the things where Dame has a point, but it's like also you're raising it 30 years later. This just seems like he's scrambling to stay relevant, and his point is valid. Like, but you're literally looking to somebody in the music industry for a moral compass. I mean, give me a freaking break. You know, I mean, everybody knew about Aaliyah. Everybody knew, everyone knew about Aaliyah being a teenage, underage when she was married, and nobody really did anything about it. A lot of people knew about R. Kelly to some degree, and nobody did anything about it until he was no longer a financially viable artist. Everybody allegedly knew about Puffy, and nobody did anything about it until Cassie basically set that wheel in motion. So,
well, people got scared. We talked about that before, right? Wendy Williams was talking about Puffy forever, and what happened? They saw what happened. She got fired and run out of New York, and people were scared. That's when self-preservation, for especially in entertainment, people are always going to run to self-preservation before they run to doing the right thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's just sort of his point is absolutely valid, but it's like he didn't. Oh my God! And Jaguar, like Jay-Z killed Aaliyah. How do these people have all this time to do anything when they're killing people right and left? They're just killing. And Beyonce killed her, and Beyonce killed Kathy White, and Beyonce killed this one. It's too much. It's like, come on, anyway. So his point is valid in that, people shouldn't have been working with R. Kelly, or shouldn't have been that Jay. But he didn't raise it at the time. Dame never said, to the best of our knowledge, why are you working with the man that raped my fiance? I mean, if he did say it at the time, nobody seemed to care. So, Dame, bless his heart.
And with that, he is a piece of work. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back. And we're back.
All right, so we'll go to something that does not have to do with fucked up men being fucked up and abusing, just for a second, just to take a little palate cleanser. And so vinyl sales are major down right now. From 34.9 million, so I'm going to round up and say 35. Okay, can I do that? 34.9 million in 2003 to 23.3 this year. And then also CD and digital albums also dropped. CDs 19.5. I didn't know people were even buying CDs.
Yeah, the numbers have been going up like slowly.
And digital albums 8.3. So you're a vinyl guy. What do you think this is about?
One, the thing that you and I have been talking about. Where's the music? Where are the artists? Yeah. This whole year, like, where there's not been a bunch of great music and artists that have been driving people to the record stores. And also, now that vinyl has come back and so popular, it's gotten insanely expensive.
Right.
Like, back in our days, like, records
when we were a girl,
they were like between $5.99 and $9.99 for vinyl. Now vinyl's like $30. And then the box sets are $30, $40. The special edition box sets on vinyl, $50 all the way up to $200. So it's gotten really expensive. People are making different choices, especially when there's not been a bunch of great records. Like, okay, the Coldplay album that came out last week is the #1 record in the country. They sold a shit ton on vinyl. It's the most they've ever sold on vinyl. But there's not been a lot of great music that's been driving people to the record stores, which is why some companies are down. So I think it's a matter of there's no product that people want to go out there and buy.
Just hold on, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry.
Bless you.
Does every artist automatically put stuff out on vinyl, or only the top tier guys?
Now they have been. Now they have
Okay,
been
well, that's
because
like glutting the market. Then there's too many different. Because I would imagine that vinyl, um, it's like you're offering people too many versions. It's like just get. I just think it's interesting when they said digital album sales are down, which just goes back to prove that people are not listening to full albums, they're listening to tracks. And that never does well for the creative and artistic community when you're picking and choosing and not really listening to a full album,
But I also think it's like people have been dropping albums, but the flip side is we've not had one of those years where it's like star after star after star has been coming out and they're dropping these great albums that everybody loves. It's like so it
But we have
which
new
is
stars.
yeah, we do, but is
I know
that
what you say, like
exciting?
the big. I mean, look, Chapel Roan is obviously,
with a
the
year
second
old
record.
with a year old album,
Right.
right? So
But,
people
yeah.
that picked up steam and that's been selling. And what
Right.
helped push that back up to the charts is they put out a vinyl edition and people ran to
Oh,
buy
okay.
it. And
Okay.
Taylor Swift is about to put out her 978th vinyl edition of the Tortured Poets Society. She just announced today that on the end of, I want to say it's in November, exclusive at Target, Dead Poets, Tortured Poets Society, Anthology Edition, Eras Tour Anthology Edition.
Oh, Jesus
is coming
Christ.
out for the first time on vinyl, and she's putting out the Eras Tour book, 500-page photo book, exclusively at Target. So that will drive people there to buy that. Maybe if they put vinyl in those Stanley Cups, because once again, I see people attacking each other to go get the Wicked edition Stanley Cups.
I gotta say, when you go to the Europe or any place, people do not feel the need to bring a year's worth of water with them. I mean, people in third world countries who are digging wells and bringing water for their families lug around less water. I don't even want to bring the little water I do because it's heavy in my bag, as if there are not water fountains in every public building. But anyway, well, yay for her, the Taylor Swift, because you know what? I don't want to. I mean, we make fun of her, and she's easy to make fun of, and we should make fun of her. But
she was at the Yankees game last night.
Of course she was. Wouldn't you be? No, come on. That's the perk of being a celebrity. If you're not going to go to a Yankees game in really good seats, what is the point of being a celebrity?
And she does live in New York.
She does, among many places. I told you I've driven by her house in Rhode Island. We go, oh, look, it's Taylor's house. I will give her this, though. When she does do good with her money. So I will give her that. Yeah. She does do good with her money. She donated
like $5 million to the hurricane.
$5 million to hurricane stuff. So I will give her, she boosts the economy. I will give her that. So I haven't heard about any other major stars forking over big bucks. Beyonce. Well, not just Beyonce. That's not fair. I haven't heard about
I will say this. She actually does a bunch of stuff, but she doesn't.
Local. She does it local.
And she doesn't want it publicized. She's been doing that for years.
I understand, and that's fair, but sometimes I think it is good to publicize it only because it might inspire. Beyonce is such an aspirational figure, and she's so admired. It might inspire somebody else to do good, but I understand why she doesn't want to bring it to. I understand that. All right, so let's talk about Dua Lipa for a second. Mm-hmm. So, okay, this is one of those articles where it's like it's a slow news day.
Right.
Okay, let me set it up. A drop-dead gorgeous woman, drop-dead gorgeous woman with a body that any model would kill for, who's hugely successful and talented and really smart and really cool. When she performs, men fall in love with her. Oh, really?
But it's deeper than that. And I'll tell you why as a man. She has what I feel like is an attainable beauty. Like you look at her.
Oh, totally.
And
I know girls that look like her.
You know women. And I think men look at her and be like, I could stand a chance, like with the woman who. But I think that's the thing.
No, I know what you mean.
Because you look at some of the pop stars and it's a model of perfection where you're like, that's a poster on my wall. I could never talk to a woman that looks like that. But Dua looks like that really pretty woman that you might see on Friday night when you go out with your guys and you try to talk to, right? And there's an approachableness to her. It's almost like why everybody likes Rihanna. Rihanna's really, we know she's Rihanna, the superstar, but you feel like
she's a cool
you feel
chick.
like I
She's
could walk up to her and be like, "Can I smoke a blunt with you?" Right now,
okay,
you know what I mean? It's just that energy.
I understand, but here's the thing about Dua Lipa. Okay. I'm sorry. Judging from my own experience and the experience of my other friends, I'm not comparing myself beauty-wise. They would go up to talk to her, and then when they realized that she's smarter than them, they would stop talking to her because they're like, "Oh, she's really pretty and smart and reads books and has an opinion. Yeah, where's somebody else?" So yeah, I just think it's funny, and it's like. And there are that many straight men going to Dua Lipa shows?
Well, you know, you go with your wife or your girlfriend. Your girlfriend's like, I want to go see Dua Lipa. It's like whenever you go to a Beyonce show and you see the straight guys, because it's like his wife wanted to see her, the girlfriend wanted to see her.
I love Dua Lipa. I love everything. I really do. I love everything about her.
She sold out like 4 nights at the Garden. She comes here, but the tour's not here until next fall.
Yeah, no, I love everything about her. And like I said, that documentary series that she has on, I believe, Amazon or Hulu.
I think it's Hulu.
It's
I haven't seen it. Is it good?
It's really good. It's really good. And she's smart and she's just, and I also think one of the reasons she's approachable is because she's not perfect. You know, the dancing is a little off and she's
I love her bad dancing. I love it.
I love her bad dancing. I love her bad dancing is in a different category of Mary J's bad dancing because Mary J's bad dancing is like, I don't care what people think of me, bad dancing, which is great. Whereas Dua's is like, she's really trying the best I can. She's trying.
We see it.
And you can see her counting. 1, 2, 3.
She's like, hip hop, turn, turn.
I know.
Hip hop, turn. And I'm like, go ahead, girl. I see you.
But meanwhile, when you see her, when you saw that set at Glastonbury, it's perfection.
Fabulous.
It's perfection. And I do. And I like her commercials. What is it, Porsche or Peugeot? She's got
I haven't seen she's got commercials.
Yeah, for Peugeot, she directs. She also doesn't take herself too seriously, which I enjoy. All right, so Massive Attack, this is a drag. They canceled their tour last minute due to unforeseen circumstances. I'm not going to make any snarky comment because this was a big deal, and this is a band that doesn't play a lot. And, they were bringing over Elizabeth Fraser, and it was going to be a thing.
I've gotten to see them in concert. Have you ever
I've never seen them. No, I've heard they're great.
I flew to years ago. I saw them at the Cameo Theater on South Beach. And that tour when they toured for the mezzanine tour, when they toured with that album. Wow. It was so good.
No,
they were just
so good.
A full motherfucking vibe.
Yeah.
The only thing that would have made that better, because I want to say Elizabeth Fraser was with them then. It would have been if Sharon Nelson had been there, right?
Yeah, I don't think Sharon. She's sort of disappeared for whatever reasons.
Like,
her first.
Oh my God, that album is so good. Sharon.
Oh, it's so good. And she never had did she ever have a second record?
I think she made a second record, maybe.
But it was not in this country.
Yeah.
Well, the issues with Sharon Nelson in
terms of road,
oh no, it's a fantastic
there's freedom
record.
at a price. That's
I interviewed her actually for Mirabella. No, she's great, but
Sharon. We need to sit down and one day just have a show on all of the people that you've interviewed. Because you always break it out in, I spent an afternoon with him. And I'll be like, no, bitch, I did not know that.
Remember how they were really pushing her because that was on, and she doesn't fit the standards of American beauty.
Right.
And that was a lot of it. This was the time when all these dance kind of groups had like the supermodels singing not that Sharon Nelson is, but she's not Dua Lipa in terms of look. She looks like a regular.
Back then, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
that was definitely like.
No, Sharon Nelson, come on. A great singer. But so that's a drag. They canceled the tour. They are refunding people's money. It's not an issue in terms of, because something bad must have happened, obviously. Yeah. You just don't, especially an international tour, you don't suddenly go, oops, we're not going to come. So hopefully nothing bad happened. But things that are bad. Okay, you know how there's some people, we've talked about it, just look guilty. They just look guilty. Marilyn Manson looks like he did everything they've ever accused him of. For a second.
Yeah.
For a second.
Like,
I'm like, I'm like, he had sex with squirrels. Yeah, I can see that. He had sex with squirrels. Sure. I mean, So there are new charges being brought. There's a new investigation that the LADDA has brought into Marilyn Manson's alleged sexual assault, misconduct. And the reason this actress, who I've never heard of because I never watched Game of Thrones, but Esme Bianco, is crediting the decision for this coming to light again, was that she was about to appear in an ad with the DA's opponent. He's running for re-election, George Gascon. So he's running for re-election in LA, and she was going to be in an ad with the person that's running against him. And so suddenly it's like, oh, we're going to reopen the investigation. But I'm sorry, and I'm not saying this to be, I know allegedly, I'm allegedly up for day. He just looks guilty, right?
You know, when his former girlfriend, was it Rachel Evan Woods?
No, Evan Rachel Woods.
You know, I believed her when she was saying all of the things that she was saying, because, listen, she was saying some really out there shit.
Yeah, I believed her too.
And I was like,
I believed her too.
I was like, I believe you're telling the truth.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that you are your persona. I know the Marilyn Manson thing is a stage act, but he seems to really kind of have
ride that line real hard.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like he's really going out of his way to be. Yeah. So anyway, so that's been reopened. I can't even with Diddy. Let's just put it this way: you and I are currently the only two people not suing him at this point. And the day is young.
And the day is not even over yet. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of this whole thing. It just feels...
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It really...
It's just
I don't even know how to describe it, really. It's just,
you know what?
Unbelievable is a really good way to say it. It just feels, it's not really
unbelievable.
Wild.
Yeah, it's not unbelievable because we don't believe the victims. It's unbelievable that suddenly, it's like all of a sudden, like the gates have opened and 9 million roaches and rats are running out that have been, and it's like, if a third of the charges are true, third of the charges are true, he's going away for the rest of his life. And it seems like that he, you know, we always talk about, could someone come back? He's done. He's absolutely done.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much done.
Yeah. I mean, he is completely...
But the interesting thing is, unlike R. Kelly, where they won't really play R. Kelly records on the radio, I still hear Puffy's music all the time.
I know, and he gets money from him. So
all the time.
Well, people play... Yeah,
R. Kelly, they don't play on the radio anymore.
No, they
it's
hard
play
with
him.
Well, maybe because he hasn't been convicted yet. Maybe that's the wiggle room. But yeah, no, he's done. Everybody has even
if he gets off, right? Let's say
so tainted.
I think his reputation
it's gone.
It's just shot.
It's gone. I mean, it's like he's no longer, how can you ever, because there's too many people, Jaguar, right? There's too many. The problem is it's not just R. Kelly. All right, R. Kelly was a disgusting criminal piece of garbage. But who else was he going to bring, there are 9 million nucleuses. As big as R. Kelly was, he was never as big as Puffy. He was never had a clothing line or a liquor line. R. Kelly, as popular as he was still pretty much a black music thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, he never had that kind of success. The Puffy
and I
thing,
Believe I Could Fly, right? Which became
I Believe I Could Fly. Yeah, but he didn't work with as many. I mean, what is he going to bring?
Well, Puffy, the thing about Puffy is he was New York, right? So he had that swag. He had the personality. He schmoozed with the billionaires. He always wanted to be an upper echelon or something. And listen, I've been to Puffy party. Puffy throws amazing parties. Not every party was these freak-offs and all the things that everybody wants to be like, oh, we learned a new term. The thing is, he came from being a party promoter. So he always knew how to throw a party. But we should have known. There were glimpses of who he was. Listen, City College, if you're of a certain age and you are from New York, City College was something that you just did not forget.
Right. And that should have been the first clue, because as the stampede is happening, he's locking the doors and grabbing the money box. That should have been your first clue. That maybe, but yeah, no. The thing is, I think with Puffy is that there's, if you believe gossip pages, Justin Bieber is having a come to Jesus moment and may say something. Clive, I mean, there's just too many people in the orbit who have information. When it came to R. Kelly, there really was only obviously the victims. Sparkle, who nobody, I mean, I'm not discounting what she said, but there weren't, and he was Chicago. He was Chicago. Nobody is paying attention to Chicago. The Chicago press
And
was
people
covering
treat
it.
women like shit. I say this to a friend of mine all the time, and she's finally starting to build me. I'm like, people don't care about women.
Not
Women
at
come
all.
out and say, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. And a man says, no, it didn't. And they always want to run behind the men, even other women. It's like the thing with Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. It was like so easy to just discount her. And I really got into it with a friend about it. And she was like, she doesn't know who shot her. I was like, tell me, unless you're in a mass shooting, I don't care how drunk or high you are. Somebody shooting you, I think pretty much sobers you up. And I was like, and women don't lie to protect other women. They'll lie to protect a man, but they'll be like, that bitch shot me.
Well, I keep telling you, we're brainwashed. We are programmed to stand by your man.
Right.
It's ridiculous. When everyone, unless it's Dante DiVincenzo, you should not stand by him. I do like.
I could
Dante.
see you having a fling with him, a little young.
Oh, I don't find him physically attractive. I don't find him physically attractive.
Actually, I think he's handsome. You don't think he's handsome?
I know, but he doesn't do anything for me that way. I just love the fact that he's so clearly like that guy. You know what I mean? I think he'd be unbearable to be around. Are you kidding me? But I find him very entertaining in terms of the theater of the Knicks, because Jalen is like the good, Jalen is like America's sweetheart, and Dante is like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you. I love it.
And Josh is the troublemaking brother who's just
stirring
the pot.
While Josh is
Mike and Ike's and just
Mike and Ike. Yeah. Josh is like, what? Me?
Right.
He's like, moi?
Right. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I know. It's hilarious. And then, whatever. Okay. What else do we have? I'm so confused. Anything else happened? We've managed to create that's it. Look at us. We covered everything.
It's almost time.
For what?
For Mariah to defrost and Christmas Raya to come out. It's almost time. It's the 15th. We're halfway through till Christmas Raya.
She's doing Barclays.
I know she's doing a whole Christmas tour. She's doing re-release of physical copies of All I Want for Christmas Is You. Listen, she's going to milk that shit.
Bless her heart. You know what? Bless her heart. That's all I got to say. It's a great song. Bless her heart. And that's all I got to say about that. All right. What are you listening to and or watching?
Well,
for some reason,
I was on one of my old...
It's not a gay black dance diva.
No,
French.
When we get cold, I go into my Real Voices mode. And, my Real Voices mode. So... on one of my I'm part of these different groups, and old music groups, somebody put up, do you remember this record? And put up Patty Austin's The Heat of the Heat, which has sent me down a full Patty Austin K-hole. Like,
not
Patty Austin,
not a bad thing.
First of all, from Harlem, sings, she's had great tunes. And I don't think when we talk about some of the great voices that she's spoken about enough. Like, she can really sing. She sings all types of music, and she had great R&B hits. And so it made me go down that hole. I went down a Misha Paris hole.
Oh, I love Misha Paris.
Oh, so good. And then a Denise Williams hole.
Oh, all right. I love Misha Paris. I interviewed Misha Paris once.
Of course you did.
When they were trying to... Well, I used to write a lot for DJ Times. Remember that magazine?
I can't believe you wrote for DJ Times.
It was great. I got to write about everything. I don't even know how it happened. They just gave you carte blanche. That's where I first interviewed Nena. I interviewed every Italian rock, dance, pop, everything. But Misha Paris is great. The contribution record. I love that record so much.
So
Yeah,
good.
we'll talk about her, but yeah, she's another one who's like difficult, so people can't work with her. Difficult. Unlike every man in the music industry who's completely
If
difficult.
you know what you want and know how you want to sound as a woman, you're difficult.
You're
as
difficult.
a man, you're a genius who
You're assertive.
He knows
You're
what
assertive.
he wants and he's working hard to get it.
Right, she's difficult when she says, "Could you possibly make the volume a little?" No, you're being difficult. But I do like Misha Paris a lot. All right, so I haven't been listening to much of anything because I don't know why, but I watched this kind of interesting documentary on the Amazon called This Is Not a Dress Rehearsal, and it's about a band that I got into very, very late called the Tragically Hip. And the reason I never got into them, because I think, and I still will maintain, it's the stupidest band name I've ever heard of. Next to Crash Test Dummies. What is it, Canada? What is it, Canada? You're one of my favorite countries, but why can't you have good band names? Anyway, Tragically Hip the series is a little too long. It's 4 episodes, and it is directed by the late Gord Downey's brother. So Gord Downey being the lead singer who died of a brain tumor a couple of years ago. When Gord Downey died, the flags in Canada were at half staff.
Oh, wow.
Justin Trudeau came out to give a speech. More people watched the Tragically Hip's farewell concert. I think they said 16 million people watched that show. They set up, theaters and things. They were a band, people forget that Canada is a separate country. They were a band that spoke very much to a Canadian sensibility, which is not an American, a U.S. sensibility, but always one of the big thing was, why can't they break in the United States?
Right.
And it's interesting. I mean, they did in their own way, but they weren't going to be as huge but it is an interesting movie in terms of, let's face it, all band documentaries are the same. They love each other, they're brothers, and then they all want to kill each other. And this is framed around his death and their farewell concerts. But it's also an interesting thing to look at the ideas of what does it matter whether they break in the United States or not? Like, does that make them any less great? And so it's a very interesting, it's a very good documentary. It's on Amazon. It's, and like I said, an introduction for many people to a band that often gets overlooked because they were not, but they were, I don't know, they were like their Springsteen, their everything. They wrote songs about things that only Canadians would know, like weird Canadian history stuff. Anyway, so that's what I have been doing in my spare time.
Well, buenos dias.
Thank you.
And with that, kids, you know what it is. Follow us every week on the Pantheon Podcast Network, where you will find us along with a plethora of amazing content.
We love saying
sports, social commentary, music, all in one place. So you know what the deal is. Tell a friend, share our show, have a rating. And Amy has one more thing she wants to say before we go.
Congrats, Christian and Amy, on your wedding. We love good news.
I'm surprised you guys didn't ask me to sing. I have a wedding show that I do is short, 72 minutes with 16 costume changes, dry ice, and flying dancers. It's wonderful.
They know how you don't like to fly international.
You know what I mean? And then I have a whole tribute to Milan Farmer section where I sing her slow ballads.
They would like the wedding. But anyway, congrats to you guys. In Pig Latin. Congrats to you guys. Yay, thank you. Our Pantheon family is expanding. We're happy for them.
And we're expanding too because it's time for lunch. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
The Kimi Kato Show, featured on Pantheon Podcasts.
The Kimi Kato Show is a weekly exploration of Japanese pop culture in all its facets. Kimi and Jeremiah, as hosts, delve into various aspects of Japanese culture, including music, food, fashion, and film, offering listeners a comprehensive and entertaining look at what makes Japanese pop culture unique and intriguing. It is your invitation to Japan.
Hey everybody, I'm Dan.
I'm Doug. We're in the band Hoobastank.
Hi, I'm Takato Miyake, working for Suntory Global Spirits.
Hello, I'm Sincere from Yusenke.
Hello guys, this is Masata Kumi.
This is Chris Hart.
Hi, I am Sugizo. You are listening to Kimi Kato Show. Thank you.
Kimi Kato Show is brought to you by Evolve Entertainment Network, Pantheon Podcasts, and Radio Candy Media.